Let's go, Buffalo! Bet you didn't know that every single summer, your Buffalo Bills pack up and leave Buffalo on purpose. They've been doing it for more than 6 decades, and the reason why might be the smartest, quiet business move in the NFL. Picture the summer of 1960. The Buffalo Bills barely exist, a brand new franchise and a brand new league, the American Football League, and they need somewhere to hold their very first training camp. So where do you put a professional football team that's never played a down? Here's where. East Aurora, New York, a village 25 miles south of Buffalo, famous for an artist's colony. The team set up headquarters at the Roycroft Inn, a landmark of the American arts and crafts movement, a place built for furniture makers, printers, and philosophers. And the practice field? The Polo fields of the Knox family estate. Professional football on Polo grounds. But the strangest part of that first camp wasn't where they slept or where they practiced, it was how they got between the two. The Bills borrowed the locker rooms at East Aurora High School, and players were shuttled from inn to locker room to polo field by school bus. And sometimes, when nobody else was available, the players drove the bus themselves. Picture it, a professional football player behind the wheel of a school bus, hauling his own teammates to practice. That was camp number 1. And it couldn't last, because 3 years later, the Bills traded an artist's paradise for something completely different, a motel parking lot next to the thruway. From 1963 to 1967, the Buffalo Bills held training camp at the Camelot Inn in Blasdell, a motor lodge on Mile Strip Road overlooking the New York State Thruway near Exit 56. The team built 2 practice fields right next to the motel and wrapped them in snow fences. That was the entire facility. And here's the part nobody remembers. Fans loved it. It was close, it was casual, and every day folks from Buffalo's southern suburbs wandered over to watch practice at the motel. Now think about what they were watching. Those Camelot Inn teams won back-to-back American Football League championships in 1964 and 1965. Champions of the whole league, training behind a motel by a thruway exit. But as pro football grew up, training camp had to grow up too, and the Bills were about to discover a formula hiding in plain sight on every college campus in western New York, a formula they'd follow for the next 60 years. In 1968, the Bills moved camp to Niagara University, and everything about it just worked. Dormitories for housing,
A dining hall for meals, locker rooms, playing fields, all in one place, a ready-made football factory. The Bills stayed 13 years. This is the era of kids on bicycles pressed up against wooden snow fences, close enough to hear the pads crack. Autographs were easy, crowds were small, and without anyone planning it, the Bills stumbled onto something at Niagara that had nothing to do with football. Training camp is the one time each year when the wall between a team and its fans comes down completely. File that thought away, because 30 years later, it becomes the entire story. First, though, the Bills had one more move to make. In 1981, they headed south to a little college town in grape country and accidentally created a legend. For 19 consecutive summers, from 1981 to 1999, the Bills trained at Fredonia State, 245 acres in the heart of northern Chautauqua County, halfway between Buffalo and Erie, Pennsylvania. The players, coaches, and management lived together in 3 of the college's dormitories. The greatest teams in franchise history, the teams that went to 4 straight Super Bowls, sweated through summer two-a-days on Fredonia's fields. And Fredonia had a soundtrack: golf carts. Players rented them, got the engines revved up, and turned the 5-minute walk from the dorms into a 45-second joyride through the crowds. It was at Fredonia, late in the 90s, that owner Ralph Wilson sat in a golf cart and gave reporters his entire business philosophy in a single sentence. The best way to market a pro football team is to win. Simple, clean, and within a few years, his own front office would prove the old man only half right. Because in 2000, the Bills did something that broke Fredonia's heart. They left. And where they went tells you everything about how a small market team survives in the modern NFL. On July 21, 2000, the Buffalo Bills opened training camp at St. John Fisher College in Pittsford, New York, a suburb of Rochester, not Buffalo. Rochester, more than an hour from home.
Folks in Fredonia were heartbroken, and plenty of people asked the obvious question, why? Here's why. This was never about practice fields. This was a land grab. Rochester is a metro area of 1 million people with no professional football team of its own. And the Bills understood something most NFL franchises never have to think about. Buffalo is one of the smallest markets in the league. To survive, the Bills can't just be Buffalo's team. They have to be Western New York's team, Rochester's team, the whole region's team. So every summer, they physically move the franchise to Rochester and hand that city weeks of NFL football, up close and mostly free. A Bills executive named Russ Brandon, an FIL alum himself, was credited as an architect of the move.
And the results came fast. Rochester didn't just watch the Bills anymore. Rochester felt like part of the Bills. Remember what the team learned at Niagara? That camp is when the wall between team and fans comes down? At St. John Fisher, they turned that accident into a strategy. So, did it work? Put it this way. In the early years, you could stroll on the campus and find a spot at the fence. Today, every single ticket to watch a Bills practice, gets claimed. The pandemic pulled camp back home in 2020 and 2021, and some wondered if the summer road trips were finished for good. They weren't. The Bills went back to Fisher, and they're still there. And here's the kicker. Across the NFL, camps like this are going extinct. Most teams now train at their own year-round facilities, climate-controlled, private, closed off. The era of dorm rooms and snow fences and golf carts is almost gone from pro football. But the Bills still pack up and go. Because for this franchise, in this market, training camp was never just about getting ready for the season. It's a summer campaign. More than 60 decades of borrowing polo fields, motels, and college campuses, and turning every one of those places into Bills country. East Aurora, Blasdell, Niagara, Fredonia, Pittsford. Draw those dots on a map, and you've drawn the borders of a region that bleeds royal blue and red. Did we get it right? Heard it told differently? Know a story we should tell next? The comments are yours. Then like and subscribe. There's plenty more where this came from. And now you know. Let's go Buffalo!